Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Play, Pause, Rewind, episode 124. In a new month, it's February. We're back just in time for Valentine's Day for all you lovers out there.
Yes.
You can listen to a movie podcast together.
Yeah, this is the perfect couple activity. Listen to a
Yeah.
movie podcast.
Listen to
together.
two men you don't know talk about a movie that you may or may not have seen, but
It's
Niles,
sure to be romantic. It's a romantic time.
surely, yes. How have you been since our last episode?
Busy like a bee. I just feel like work is nonstop these days, but you find time to, relax, see the family, watch a underwhelming Super Bowl, and keep on living. How are you, Dylan?
Yeah, pretty good overall. I agree. The Super Bowl was not a good game. That was really fucking boring.
No, yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, Super Bowl 60 was not very good, except for that fourth quarter. But yeah, I really liked that halftime show.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Kid Rock. No, Bad Bunny was great. That was an incredible show. I wasn't super familiar with his music beforehand. I know he's like insanely popular. He won Album of the Year, I think, at the Grammys.
Yeah.
But I love the imagery of it, and the production obviously like feels very relevant and important for the times we're in right now. A celebration of sort of Latin culture, Latin American culture
Yeah,
in general, and the Americas overall, sort of a call of like, we're all one people at the end of the day. It's like, yay, love to hear it. Love to see it.
We need it.
Did you see how many like other people were kind of dancing in the background too? Like Pedro Pascal was in there, Jessica Alba was in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there were a lot of
pretty
faces
wild.
there. Yeah, it was really cool show, and yeah, I liked it a lot. I am definitely going to listen to his music now, and yeah, good for Kid Rock.
Yeah. Apparently, he really claimed he did not lip sync. I don't know. I didn't watch the fucking Turning Point halftime show, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck watched that?
I've got better things to do with my time.
Yeah, like watch the real halftime show. But another thing, like I did in between that I actually did want to talk about on a quick tangent. There was a anti-ICE protest in Denver a couple weekends ago. I went with a couple friends, and I wanted to bring it up because one, fuck ICE, obviously, but two,
Yes.
I think it's instructive in terms of how the media tends to talk about protests, because I was there. It was a very positive experience. Lots of love from everyone. The community in Denver overall was very supportive. Like restaurant owners and staff and even restaurant patrons were coming out and like cheering and banging on pots and pans.
Wonderful.
And you saw like even people who were caught in the traffic we caused or stuck in the parking garages were cheering or like getting out with signs of their own. Like you don't see that
Wonderful.
on the news as much. There was one guy who was very upset. He was in his apartment downtown, and he looked down at the protest, and he pulled down his pants and shoved his whole ass into his apartment window. And I like if I were upset at a crowd of people outside, I don't know if my first response would be to show hole, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, now he's got to clean his window eventually.
I know. What was he thinking? But the thing I wanted to bring up, though, is that it was entirely peaceful, very calm, like little kids were there, right? But as my friends and I were leaving, because we'd been marching around for a couple hours, we were kind of peeling off from the crowd, and there was what I think was a National Guard truck with armored and armed soldiers there, and then a SWAT van was pulling up. And
Whoa.
it's just like, yeah, and I don't think anything like blew up at the Denver protest or anything like that, but it's telling that, okay, nothing was happening, and they turned up to make sure something did, so that there could be headlines about a clash with protesters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think just being in the midst of it, because I'm not a huge protester. I tend to speak about politics more than
Yes.
go to marches and stuff. That's just what I feel more comfortable doing. But I'm like, having been there now, I'm like, I have a very different perspective that, I mean, I always sided with the protesters on things, but I'm like, there was no reason for that to escalate. And
Yeah.
any escalation was happening via law enforcement. So
Or
just
yeah.
wanted to share that with the group.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that because that's it is relevant to the times. And yeah, if there's another ICE protest, I'm definitely going to go as long as I'm not out of town or too busy. But you know, yeah, I think it's important to protest and exercise that right. And yeah, to your point, I think they're just trying to find excuses to inflame the rhetoric or piss people off, get them all riled up, and side on the ICE side. And it's like that's you're gonna need something really big to happen for people to start liking ICE again.
Oh yeah, I mean, hopefully no one ever gets to that point. But
yes, agreed.
I will say, if you are listening to our show and you do choose to go to a protest, bring something to cover your face. They are trying to snap pictures and video of protesters to use against you later. So cover your face, bring eye protection, have your ID on you, go with a group, let someone who's not with you know where you are, and check in with them afterward. Keep yourself safe. Actually, I forget, that's a way people say kill yourself. Stay safe.
Yes,
because
please stay safe.
Keep yourself safe is abbreviated to KYS. Stay safe and stay alive. But enough of that. Let's talk about a movie.
Yeah, let's talk about something fun, because that's what we like to do here. We talk about fun things, because it's a fun podcast. And this week we're talking about Send Help.
Yes. Directed by Sam Raimi and written by Mark Swift and Damian Shannon, Send Help follows an experienced corporate strategist, Linda Little, and her Nepo baby CEO, Bradley, as they find themselves stranded on a small island in the Gulf of Thailand and are forced to survive both the elements and each other. The film stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. Niles, what are your initial non-spoiler thoughts on Send Help?
I liked this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It feels very original. Throughout the movie, I kept getting flashbacks to Castaway, the Tom Hanks movie from the '90s, and I think I watched that movie probably 3 times growing up because I just loved it, and so I kept thinking of that watching this movie. But I also thought of another movie called Triangle of Sadness, which we'll get to later. But I thought this movie was very original in its premise and its execution. I will say I don't think it's the most inventive movie I've ever seen, but I liked it a lot. I think Sam Raimi and the writers, they did a great job of thinking this out. It's very well thought out, in my opinion. It's creative, it's fun, it's engaging, and I think it's easy to get invested in these 2 characters. It's just 2 characters on screen, Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, and I think you just kind of get engrossed in their stories. Rachel McAdams plays a very sympathetic character, so it's really, I think, easy as the audience to get behind her and their struggles on this island too. And I think there was some, classic Sam Raimi style. There's some good jump scares throughout this movie too that I was not expecting. Even though it's rated R, it was like, okay. I was not expecting there to be any jump scares, but there were, and I thought those were really great. And yeah, but I think that the movie overall, Send Help feels like a very thoughtful exploration of power dynamics and how people will abuse power when they have it, how they will abuse others when they have power, and the lengths that they'll go to hang on to that power as well. It all just feels very ingrained into the DNA of this movie, very prevalent. And I was reading some Reddit reviews of this movie before we hopped on too, and there was one person who pointed out, I just love the way they put it. They said this movie was predictable and unpredictable in the best ways, and I totally agree with that too, because it's you watch the trailer, you know what's going to happen in this movie. It's 2 people stuck on an island together surviving. It's Castaway times 2. But, there's lots of interesting twists and turns throughout that you don't really see coming. Like there's some good unpredictability in this movie. So I think this is, I had a great time with it overall. Dylan, what about you? What did you think of Send Help?
Yeah, I thought this was a ton of fun and delightfully unhinged. The tone is playful and mean-spirited in a way that felt very Sam Raimi. In addition to the jump scares you talked about, like there's some fun gore in here as well. Like there's one hunting sequence that is a lot of fun, and then some stuff towards the end as well that gets kind of nasty.
Yeah.
I think Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien also play well off of each other, like really well off each other, which is good because the vast majority of the movie is just them, and their performances like really had to be dialed in for this to work, I think. I found it funny. I found it stressful. It made me cringe a lot, especially at the beginning before they get to the island. You're watching it and you're like, oh God, oh no. But I think like all of that was in the way that the movie wanted me to feel, right? And I'd recommend checking it out for sure. Yeah,
it's very like the writers were very intentional with kind of every direction they put into the script here, and we'll get into that a little bit later too. But yeah, I think this is a soft recommendation for me. Like, I think I had a great time with it, but yeah, it's not the most mind-blowing movie I've ever seen, but still a whole lot of fun.
For sure. Want to do spoilers?
Let's hop on in.
Alrighty.
First spoiler. I just want to say it. Did you catch the Bruce Campbell cameo in this movie?
No. Where is he, in the office at the beginning, or is he at the end at the golf course?
He is in the office. He's not actually in the movie. He's like a portrait painting on the wall in Bradley's office.
I wonder if he was Bradley's dad.
Maybe he was. Oh, that would have been cool to have like a flashback scene to that or something. But yeah, I looked it up beforehand. I was like, wait, was Bruce Campbell in this? Because he's always in like Sam Raimi's work.
He's always in Sam Raimi's, yeah.
I just had to find out. And yes, he's in it for like 1 second. And he's not actually in it because it's just a painting.
That's perfect. I love that. But I really enjoy the relationship between Linda and Bradley throughout the whole movie, because they're constantly, in my opinion, like hovering between just absolute loathing for each other. And also there are moments where it looks like they're kind of falling for each other, but maybe that's just both of them kind of playing that up to make the other feel comfortable. You don't really know. Like it's just, they're back and forth the entire time on the island just makes me like, it fills me with such unease. And I think that was great. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, they've got such great chemistry, and I totally agree. Yeah, there's like moments where, they're bonding over like alcohol together, like this fermented like fruit that she did, like prison wine style.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they're just opening up and connecting on like a human level, and then like the next day it's just like, oh, he just hates her again. He's trying to ditch her. He's yelling, "Fuck you,"
He poisons her.
Yes, he poisons her. But like, yeah, it is interesting how their relationship develops over the course of the movie too, especially when they're on the island, because it's like he starts off still acting like her boss and everything, like still thinking that he has some kind of authority over her, and she's just like, I'm not taking your shit anymore, and he becomes like an equal and then lesser, more than her.
Yeah, I think that plays into what a big part of this movie is about, and its power dynamics. Like, I think a lot of the interplay between the two of them centers around power and control, as well as how like different environments can change said dynamics. Who has the power where and whatnot.
Yes, you're totally right here. Yeah, power and control, these are central to the movie. These are central themes, and I think it's, like I said at the top, and non-spoilers, I think this is a terrific exploration, this whole movie. Great exploration of power dynamics, like how they develop, how they fade away, how people abuse power to manipulate others, how they use it to control people, how people will also use their power, whatever little amount of power they have, too, to just justify their decisions, no matter how dumb they are. And they'll use their power to vindicate their opinions and themselves and their personalities. And it's Ooh, it's delicious.
Yeah. But like obviously in the corporate setting, Bradley, he's the new CEO. He has near absolute power over Linda, despite not having put in any of the work. Like obviously she's described to him by I guess his mentor or his business advisor or something. It's like a real workhorse who was promised this VP position, and Bradley's just like, yeah, no, whatever. And he
Yeah.
uses his station to elevate his even more useless friend Dominic to this VP position, passing Linda up for that promotion. You know, like she did the work, she put in the time, she earned it, she was promised it, and then he's just like, no.
I know, it's like it's so heartbreaking because you can sympathize with Linda like right from the get go there. But can I just say real quick that VP, the new VP, what a dick, and I'm so glad that he died, and how he died too was so over the top that. But it was so funny at the same time. He's just like dangling outside the window with the like strangling to death, and she just lowers the window screen. Like, no, I'm done. Thank you.
It was so funny, and he's such a douchebag, and like all of them are such douchebags because they're just like watching the Survivor audition, making fun of her the entire time, and it's like, you know, it's whatever. It's her passion. She likes to do it. It's weird, but it's fine. And also like the other thing too about Bradley, like he completely dismisses Linda's contributions to the company because he just finds her gross. Like, she had some food on her lip and she's a little like socially awkward, and okay, she did put the sandwich in a drawer. Like, don't do that. That's weird, but come on.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Whatever. It's fine. But on the island, right, Bradley's brand of power is entirely irrelevant and evaporates immediately. Like I love the part where he's bossing her around and she's just like, okay, and she just leaves him there for like a day, basically. And like Linda, as it turns out, is a Survivor fanatic, like the show Survivor, and actually trained to survive in an environment like this because she wanted to, you know, be on the show, right? And plus, Bradley is injured. He can't do anything for himself. He would have died without her. So now Linda is in a position of power and absolute control over Bradley. And when we also see like how Linda is able to fully like maintain control and power by only teaching Bradley the skills she wants him to know to survive in the way she is dictating. Like, when he tries to make the raft, his raft falls apart because she doesn't teach him the knot that he'll need to do to make the raft work. And this power, it's only threatened when people show up to rescue them. I think that's really interesting, and there's one spot specifically where it becomes the most interesting. But I think this whole inversion is used to show sort of how people, like how the power business and wealthy people wield is, when it comes down to it, pretty artificial. Like, it's just propped up by our institutions, like our assumption that people at the top of the company know what they're doing. They have the financial resources to really inflict their will upon others, right? But the second those institutions aren't around to elevate them, that power fades and their incompetence is revealed. Like, it's,
No, you're totally right. I mean, we all live inside these systems, and to your point, they are all artificial. We created them because we needed some sense of order in the world, and you know, I have a job. I like my job. I like earning money so I can buy food. But, you know, when you strip away all of that at the end of the day, it's like, well, I just need food. I don't need the job. Like, you know, I just, that's what I need. So it's like my boss really doesn't have any power over me per se. It's just, I need the money to buy the food.
The jobs are middlemen between us and survival.
Yes, exactly. And then, when you're just like out in the wild there's no systems. It's all chaos. Like, there's a natural order to things with the ecosystems and the way weather works and all that, you know, but at the end of the day, we're all just animals who crawled out of the African savannah and found a way to create structure and use tools in life. but it's all artificial in a way.
Yes. And quick tangent, we found a way to make those tools and survive by building communities and working together to make sure that everybody had what we needed. And we did that for thousands of fucking years until some assholes invented capitalism and it became about generating infinite profit. Capitalism did not even fucking exist until like the early 1800s or something around there. Like, it wasn't always here. We had commerce way before we had capitalism.
Community existed before money. That's it at the end of the day. And, you know, you do need your community. And there does need to be some kind of power structure, but, you know, it's all superfluous. It's all made up. It's all in your head. You know, it's just kind of what you make of it. But I think this is what we're talking about. This is a great exploration of power, this whole movie, I think.
Agreed.
And I think we can't, you know, talk about all these power dynamics at play in this movie without also mentioning nepotism here and kind of that role that plays. Because I feel like nepotism, you see it like in so many headlines these days. You see it in like the corporate world. We see it in politics. We see it in entertainment as well, where these, you know, the offspring or relatives of like successful people in these fields suddenly get a boost. They're risen up to power, and you know, it's not always inherently a bad thing, but I would argue that more often than not it kind of is, because there's like an element of it that feels like a monarchy, you know, and when, you know, you look at like a monarch, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe that king was good, but what about his son and his son? Like, how can we ensure that they're all going to be good, like the same quality of excellence? They're all going to have similar personalities and similar values. It's like, you just can't. Like, we see that in Game of Thrones. I think that show did a really good job of illustrating the problems with monarchy, but, you know, you see it here in this movie, Send Help. Bradley was the CEO's son. And as far as we can tell, he's never worked a day in his life. Like, I can't remember if they mentioned it before in the movie or not, but it's like, it feels like he just got hired at the company, like within the last 6 months or a year or something like that. And so he's just like gets ahead in the company solely because he's related to the previous CEO, but he lacks all the skills and the experience that Linda possesses. She's been there for like over 10 years. She knows the business in and out. And he's just like, my dad ran the business. My dad was Logan Roy, you know? And he's just
I'm
so
the
inept.
Eldest boy.
Yeah. He is Kendall Roy. He really is. He's Kendall Roy.
But not even, man. Like, Kendall Roy is an incompetent shithead, but like, he did work at the company for a while, like doing things. Like, he was kind of like groomed to be the heir apparent, and then he fucks it up. But it's like,
so he's kind of more of like a mix between I forget all their names now, but like Connor and like the Kieran Culkin's character, maybe.
He's more like Roman than Kendall.
Roman, that's it. Say. Thank you.
Yeah, Roman.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but
oh god.
I'm just gonna say Bradley was just really inept in many ways, and the only reason why he got that job was because he was related to the owner.
And the only reason Donovan, his new VP, gets the job is because he was like frat and golf brothers with Bradley. And it's like, okay, so your incompetence is contagious, and you're going to spread it throughout the rest of the company. And it's like, nepotism. It's I think nepotism is like a symptom of the issue rather than the issue itself, right? Because like if you think about it, it's like, oh, if you're running the family business, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to work with my kid and like pass it on to them, or like I want it's natural to want to work with people you work well with, be it family or friends. Like, that's a very human thing, and it's fine. It's just the system itself is so built on status and connection that it becomes an issue that makes people mad. Like, I don't think the nepotism in general is the core issue, but it is indicative of the issue, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it just brings to mind like the whole, what's that saying? It's like, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. You know, when you're looking for jobs, it's like, oh yeah, if I know this guy at this company, he can probably help me get a job there, even if I don't know how to do the job. You know,
Right.
it's just like that's just a part of like having that kind of those kinds of connections and that kind of power. Even if you are really experienced and you have all the know-how, it's like, well, if you don't really have your foot in the door already, it's really hard to get in.
Yeah, it's like it's so key in so many like interview processes. It's like, oh, if someone can set you up with like someone at the company to go get a coffee or a beer, then it's like, okay, before you interview or apply, it's like, oh, you're in a much better spot than if you didn't have that. Is that fair? No, it's not. Not at all.
No, it sucks, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I guess.
Tell us about Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, I did want to talk about this. Really quick tangent. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but there was this movie. I don't know if you remember, Dylan, but it came out in 2022 called Triangle of Sadness, and just Send Help really reminded me of that movie. Like, as soon as we left, I think that was like the first thing I said to you when we walked out of the movie theater. Like, I just couldn't stop thinking of Triangle of Sadness during the ending. So, quick recap of that movie, just for context for people. Spoiler alert. Just for context there on the movie. But Triangle of Sadness is basically about an influencer and her boyfriend. They're invited on a luxury cruise, and halfway through the movie, the cruise crashes, and the couple and several other characters from the ship are marooned on an island. We have no idea really where or anything other details like that. But the only person who has any survival skills among the crew, among the survivors, is the cleaning lady on the ship. Her name's Abigail, if I remember right. So she knows how to hunt. She knows how to fish. She knows how to start a fire. She knows how to make shelter. She knows how to do all these things. She knows how to gather water, all that stuff that Rachel McAdams did really well in this movie. So she becomes the captain on the island. I am the captain now, you know, and she starts to wield her power over others, you know, and it's kind of fine at first where she's like, I get more food because I did all the works, you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And then she starts to abuse it a little bit more and more and more over time. The movie ends with the implied killing of the influencer girl. Like, it's implied that Abigail kills the influencer because the two of them, they are like exploring the island together and they discover a luxury resort on the opposite side of the island. So they're saved, but she doesn't want to be saved. She wants to continue to have like this control, this monopoly on power and on this group. She wants to keep being the captain. So it's implied that she kills the influencer chick and just goes back to the rest of the group and continues to wield her power. And I wanted to bring it up because of a few reasons. The first is I see a lot of similarities between Abigail and Linda here. They both worked shitty jobs in the real world and were widely ignored by others or passed over. They're both the only ones who have the necessary survival skills and know-how to keep everyone alive. And they both leverage their power to manipulate other survivors. They also commit murder to maintain their power as well. And that just all kind of came to mind for me, but I also wanted to bring this up, like kind of compare these two movies in a way. It's not exactly a fair comparison, but in some ways I feel like Send Help, when you put them side by side, Send Help felt a little more one-dimensional than Triangle of Sadness, in my opinion. And I think they both accomplished very similar messages at the end about power dynamics. Like, they both explore power dynamics very in depth, but I feel like Triangle of Sadness just kind of pushed the envelope a little bit further, where they was like, we're not just going to focus on power. We're going to focus on toxic relationships. There's like a whole first half of the movie where it's not even like, they're not marooned. It's just the cruise, you know, it's just the modeling world. It's just the influencer and the characters on this ship. But, you know, it's exploring like toxic relationships, capitalism versus communism, labor exploitation, the superficiality of like the modeling industry, or just like modern labor. Like, she's an influencer, you know, and she doesn't do anything except just post pictures and videos all day. And she gets invited on this cruise, and it's like, that's her whole job, is just being an influencer. And it's like, it just feels weird to me. But that's a form of labor these days.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just send help on the other hand, I feel like it's just more straightforward and kind of cut and dry. And I just kind of feel there could have been more to explore there in this movie. But at the end of the day, I'm still very happy with what we got.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do two different things. Like,
Yes.
Triangle of Sadness, remember, it's like very much examining the shallowness of wealth and influencer culture, I think, in a lot of ways, and then using that to segue into class commentary, where I think this is more like, let's just make an unhinged thing about power dynamics in two people. And it will explore class in some ways and like power in ways, but it's about the two individuals probably more than Triangle of Sadness was. I think Triangle of Sadness was using the people to explore the ideas, and this is using the ideas more to explore the characters themselves.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And yeah, it's not a one-to-one comparison at all.
But I see why it reminded you of that, obviously. Like the role reversal is very similar, I'd say.
Yeah. Abigail and Linda have very similar trajectories where it's like you have no power and now you have all the power and you can control the situation. You can do whatever you want as long as you keep everyone alive.
But talking about maintaining that power dynamic, like let's talk about Linda killing Zuri. Zuri is Bradley's fiance, and there's one point earlier in the movie where it's either a search and rescue crew or like a tourism boat going through, and Linda's like, oh shit, I can't be noticed. Because in this whole, she's like, not yet, is basically what she says. Like, I'm not ready. And then later on in the movie, we see Zuri show up with a local guide, I guess, and she spots Linda and is all excited. She's like, oh my God, I'm saving you guys. It's great. We get to go home. And Linda is not psyched about that. So, yeah.
Yeah, she really is not. She's like, I don't want to leave yet. I want to maintain this little paradise that I've created and found. And yeah, that's a very tense part of the movie too. Cause like you can see Rachel McAdams, she just like, the gears are turning in her head. Like, how do I still maintain this? Like, what do I do here? Like, she's just trying to think of everything. Yeah, it's a very shocking moment too.
Yeah, and it's like it comes at the worst time for her as well, because like Bradley made a power move with the raft, right? And he fucked it up. And then Linda like really aggressively establishes dominance over Bradley, right? Like she feeds him the octopus. She's like, no, it's okay. Here, have this octopus, and it paralyzes him. And then she makes a big thing about acting like she's castrating him while he's numb. And then she basically says, like, next time, it won't be a rat. Like, I'm going to actually do this. So sort of stay in line. And it's like, it's one of those, it's a sort of a twist on, like, if you come for the king, make sure to not miss, right? Because it's like, you played your hand, and then the worst possible thing to happen right after you played that hand showed up. Because your maintenance of this level of power evaporates the moment you are rescued. And I will say it's the only unjustifiable and actually evil thing Linda does in the movie, because I think, all the violence she inflicts on Bradley, I'll say, fucking fair enough. I don't have a problem with it, right? But I think it adds a lot to her character and maybe shows how, like, power over another person in the way that she has, like, once attained, can maybe be a bit intoxicating and addictive. And I think it lends itself to a broader conversation about Linda's character and how the writers and directors want us to feel about her. So, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you're totally right there. Because, I think one of the core messages of this movie is that, power corrupts regardless. Like, once you get a taste of it, to your point, it's intoxicating, it's addictive. you want more of it. You want to keep it. And yeah, I think this movie was written very well, and very intentionally, because Linda, at the start of the movie, she's trapped in her job. She can't get a promotion. She's kind of unable to progress in her career and achieve her goals. Like nepotism's getting in the way, other things are getting in the way, and I think we as an audience, we immediately sympathize with her because of how shitty her boss is, because of how like unwelcoming her coworkers are, and just like dismissive of her they are, and also that it's like, you know, she lives alone except for her cockatiel. So you know, you can kind of sympathize with her a lot from the get-go, especially since she feels so powerless, and she's not in control of her situation. But then on the island, Linda has power. She takes control, and Bradley really becomes the one who is trapped. You know, Linda's has the opportunity to get them rescued. She doesn't because she's not ready to leave yet. She wants to maintain this kind of power. She doesn't want to go back to her shitty job and everything. And I think with all this power, in a way, she kind of becomes what Bradley was in the office, but more in the wild. And she's more qualified and she's more lenient. She's a better boss than Bradley ever was.
Yeah.
But she does kind of become a monster. She kills two people, Yuri and the other local in Thailand who came to help them, and just to maintain her power. And then later, at the climax of the movie, she kills Bradley. And because of how the narrative is written, like how the plot unfolds and how these characters are written, it feels impossible as the audience to hate Linda. You know, and I don't think anybody in the audience roots for Bradley unless you come from like the corporate finance world and you were raised exactly how Bradley was.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to sympathize with Bradley in this movie. I think every audience member is going to want to see Linda succeed throughout this entire film, but she's a monster. She's a monster on this island, the same as Bradley was in corporate, but we still root for her the entire way. And I think that's a fascinating aspect of this film, because she's a very, very likable monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a part of me kind of wishes that the writers made a little bit more effort to make Bradley more sympathetic and likable as the story progressed, because I think that could have made this ending, which we'll get to in just a minute, just a little bit more emotionally impactful. Like even just getting when they were drinking the alcohol around the fire and talking to each other, revealing some small details about their life or their lives. Like Bradley reveals that, oh yeah, you know, my father really neglected me. I don't think I ever saw him as a kid growing up. It sounds like his mom neglected him too. And it was kind of abusive on him too. So you kind of understand why he is the way he is in the office.
Right.
So I think they could have taken that just a little bit more with the sympathy to make him just a little bit more likable. And then I think that ending would have been dynamite, you know?
Yeah. I think like they do just enough sympathy for me, because I think they want to because the end is fun. It's like mean, but it's fun.
Yes.
And I think if he was too much more sympathetic, it wouldn't be as fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have been more dramatic of like, well, I want Bradley to live. Well, I want Linda to live. You know, it's like that kind of thing. But different movie.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the reveal of the mansion, because similar to Triangle of Sadness, where there is a luxury resort on the island, in this movie, there is actually a mansion on the other side of the island. And I guess it's an Airbnb or something like that, or they just only go there for vacation. But it's established. Linda's like, that big rock X over there, don't go over there. There are like tons of thorns and stuff, and it's really bad. So we know, in retrospect, that she has found the mansion very early on, right? She knows it's there. It's such a fun twist, and I think it's like one fun element about it is just as Bradley, in essence, cheated to get to his position of power by just being the CEO's son and inheriting the company, right? Linda is sort of cheating at the whole survival thing because she has access to this massive house with a ton of amenities, including most notably the knife, which is what she uses to remind Bradley of the current power dynamic, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, and like she lies like, "Oh, the knife washed up," and at the end she's like, "Do you really think a knife just washes up on shore?" It's pretty funny,
Yeah.
but I'll say like, unlike Bradley, but like many real world business leaders, she does seem to understand like a fair amount of the needed survival skills to help them stay alive, right? But would probably not have done so well without the secret mansion. Like she makes a pretty critical mistake.
True.
She builds their camp too close to shore and it washes away in the first storm. And it's like that for actual survivalists would be like a pretty amateur mistake, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's just like how many wealthy and powerful people like they're competent enough in some areas to convince like both other people and even sometimes themselves that they got to where they are solely based on merit, right? And not in part because privilege gained by access to resources, generally financial, that others just do not have, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good observation. I appreciate you bringing that up because you're totally right. She does cheat in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but she's also knowledgeable enough to like make the little cups and uh, the backpack and the hats
Mm-hmm.
and the shelter and
Yeah.
other tools. It's like she's the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
and it is a equivalent to a lot of those people in the business world.
You know what I was thinking about though, as we were talking? You know how she makes the
Mm-hmm.
toilet wine, right? Do you think she really made toilet wine, or do you think she got wine from the mansion?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think she got it from the mansion now.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it,
Mm-hmm.
that makes a lot more sense. Well, yeah, I mean, there's like that whole sequence at the end where she's just like, "Oh yeah, I've known about this place for weeks, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever." And there's just like a montage of her just like stuffing her face with all the food and
Yeah.
stuff, like all the fruit that they bring, and it's like, yeah, that's when you think back to all those scenes of them like on the beach and she's just got like this fantastic spread of fruits.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where did you get dragon fruit on this island? Like, what the hell? Like, does every fruit imaginable grow here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the also the ending itself, like I love the showdown in the mansion. Like once we
Yeah.
find it, it's very fun. And then the way it all plays out is a very good time.
Yeah, it's so terrific, and I just love how he's just like fumbling around in the mansion
Mm-hmm.
trying to find anything to aid him, and she just miles ahead of him in the security room. Like, are you looking for the knives? I took out all the knives. You're not going to find any knives.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I also love how he keeps getting her job wrong. He calls her like he just says she's from accounting, and she's like, "I'm from strategy and planning, man." And then she uses her background in that role to sort of manipulate the situation. Like he gets the shotgun to shoot her, and you think it's all over, but it was an unloaded gun. She'd planned for this because it was part of her strategy to lure him to this place where she had the advantage. Um,
mm-hmm.
it's fun. And then she hits him in the head with a golf club. Hard cut too.
Yeah, hard cut to her being a golfer. Like, I can't tell like what level of golf it was, but maybe she's just playing in like some championship or
Some
something. But she just
invitational.
like hit a drive, yeah, an invitational or something, and then she suddenly gets interviewed by like this TV personality, being like, "Wow, like the world's been captivated by you ever since you were found adrift in the ocean." And
Mm-hmm.
she was bragging about her book tour and her significant successes and stuff, and it's a bit silly and abrupt, but I think it works pretty well
Yeah.
for the movie. And I think it's that ending, you know, her on the highway with her bird, just coasting along,
Mm-hmm.
and then she like looks directly at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I think it's a good altogether that the final ending. It's a good palate cleanser after all the violence and grittiness of the island, but like that look at the camera, it's like she knows. She knows that you know
Yeah.
how much of a monster she is.
You know what? You know what the sharp change in tone kind of reminded me of, though, and we've reviewed it. Spoilers for this movie, but it reminded me of Barbarian. When
Ooh,
when it
yeah.
cuts to
I see
Justin
that.
Long, that's like that the golf swing transitioning to that, and then her driving down the road. I'm like, wait, this feels so similar.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it feels very comedic.
Yeah. But yeah, I think. Any other final thoughts on Send Help?
No, I mean, I enjoyed this. It's a fun horror comedy. I think Sam Raimi is a great director, and he delivers really well on things that he creates. And yeah, I do need to explore more of his movies though, because I haven't seen all of them. But I liked it. I think this is a fun time. I think it's a good soft recommendation for me.
Yeah, I agree. I had a really good time with it. I think it was just fun,
Yeah,
and like you say,
delivers
like
on what it
it's
promises.
familiar enough, but it has plenty of twists and turns, and it's just a really enjoyable time. But with that, let's transition into some other stuff. Niles, what else have you been watching, playing, reading, doing?
So not a whole lot of new stuff, honestly. When I say I've been busy, I've been busy. But we've been making time to continue our rewatch of Fargo, the anthology series from FX. We just finished season 3 just a little bit ago, and now we're on to season 4. We just love that show. It's so fun. Just these crime stories that are reminiscent of the movie, but they're all different in their own ways. Like season 3 is kind of more shady underground network empire business dealings in like 2010,
Okay.
and then season 4 is like gang violence wars, like gang wars in Kansas City in the 1950s.
Oh,
and
interesting.
it's just it's just a big kind of like complete shift, but it's all still very reminiscent of like the Fargo nature of the show. It's like it's all so cool, really love it. And then the only other thing that I've really been watching that's been new or whatever has been the Super Bowl. So, but we already talked about that at the top, so I won't spend too much time talking about that. But yeah, Dylan, what about you? What have you been up to?
I watched the Super Bowl as well. We talked about it. It was a boring game, whatever. Finished the latest season of Fallout. I thought it was great. I love the Fallout show. I think overall, this season spent a lot of time, I think, setting up what the rest of the show is going to be. Like, they introduced a lot of plot lines in ways where I'm like, okay, they had a 5 to 6 season plan for the show with the things they've introduced. It seems like there is enough story for the whole rest of the series. So I'm really interested to see where all of that goes. Also, continuing to watch The Pit. It's great. Very stressful emergency room show, but great acting, great writing. It's always intense. I also went to see the movie The Housemaid with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. It's really fun. It went in a lot of directions I did not expect it to go. It's a very fun watch. Amanda Seyfried is incredible. Sydney Sweeney is not. To be perfectly blunt, I like she's fine. It's just, and also I won't pin this solely on her. It's directed by Paul Feig, who I think is just okay as a director.
Yeah.
And so like maybe because I've seen Sydney Sweeney in other things, and she seems like talented enough in the right roles, but I don't know. She's like on a mission to tank her whole fucking career at this point. I think with her, like, she's so bad at PR and is very clearly like a closet Republican, and is just, she's not good enough as an actress for people to not care about that. Like there are plenty of successful conservative people in Hollywood, right? Like Clint Eastwood, Adam Sandler, Vince Vaughn, like all conservative guys, all people that are genuinely pretty well liked. But
Yeah.
But they're really good, They're really good at what they do, and she's just not on that level yet.
Yeah.
We'll see.
She'll get there maybe.
Yeah. I remember in the past on this show, I included her in my list of like current actors and actresses who would like had huge movie star potential. I'm gonna take this opportunity to remove her from that list for the time being, because she kind of fucked it up with that Jeans ad and then that really weird interview and all the
that was a headache for a few days.
Yeah. And like whatever, man. It just whatever. Fuck it.
Do what you want, make that money, I guess.
Yeah.
But try not to be so terrible about it.
Yeah. But also in the realm of reading, I've read a couple more Sherlock Holmes stories. I read The Speckled Band, and I'm currently reading The Engineer's Thumb.
Cool.
Yeah. And then also carrying on with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And it seems like I was wrong, actually. It seems like the whole season is going to be dedicated to the first short story. And it's actually really working out. I like the way the story is unfolding. There's a really great use of music in the latest episode, which I will not spoil because it just hits perfectly. Also, in the casual gaming sphere, I've been playing with friends, Human Fall Flat and Peak, both great games to play with friends now. As I know you and I have played Human Fall Flat together in the past.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It's so silly, and it's great, and it's got those little puzzle elements, tickles your brain.
Yeah, it's such a silly little game.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, I've been playing, as of the last couple days, I picked up The Outer Worlds 2, and it's a sequel to The Outer Worlds. Obviously, it's developed by Obsidian Entertainment, who made the Pillars of Eternity games, Fallout New Vegas, and a bunch of other things. And I kind of bounced off the first Outer Worlds, but I really want to sink into this one. It's very, Fallout adjacent, I would say, but it's in like a human colony in the far future in space that is just like ultra capitalist, and it just is like in sort of a black comedy way, sort of riffing off of the horrors of capitalism, like militarized corporations who conquer, like invade a region, and it's like, we are here to spread the joy and prosperity of free market capitalism to these like innocent people. It's just very funny.
It's like, no, please don't. We were so happy.
Yeah. like in the first game, there was one person, like one character who worked for one of the corporations who was like mortally wounded, and as you were helping him, he was making sure to like insert the corporate talking points to promote the company's products. Like he's like he's like, yeah, I'm using one of our Spacer's Choice blasters. It's one of the best guns in the entire sector. Like as you're like patching him up from being shot.
You're bleeding out, dude. Like stop promoting the products.
Unfortunately, I don't have health insurance because we don't offer that in Spacer's Choice, the greatest company in the universe.
Oh, brother.
But I think that's all I got for this week, and that's going to do it for us this time. Unfortunate technical difficulties again, but otherwise a fun episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We got a couple options of things we could talk about. Night of the Seven Kingdoms will be done if you catch up on that. We got Crime 101 we could watch, or I don't know what else is coming out, but we can look it up and figure it out. But,
yeah. We'll look at the release schedule and see what it's like. Yeah, I want to watch that show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah. Just goddamn HBO's cracking down on password shared now too, and so it's like, I got to get my own HBO subscription. Come on.
No, what the hell?
But I'll figure it out, and I'm going to watch that show. I'm going to find a way.
Yeah. Until then, though, Niles, where can people find you online?
You can find me right here on the Play Pause Rewind podcast every two or 3 weeks. You can also follow me on Instagram at Niles Got No Styles. But Dylan, what about you? Where can people find you online?
on Instagram at DylanD1026, on Twitter at D-Day Movies, on YouTube at D-Day Movies. You can also find me, like Niall said, here at Play Pause Rewind. All of that is linked in the description below. Please check us out, like and subscribe. If you're interested, check out our other episodes. Tell a friend. And yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.